Hello and welcome everyone to round two of the 2025 President's Cup. My name is Joe and I'm joined once again by the amazing Brian Escalante from UT Dallas, who is hosting this year's event. We just saw round one finish a couple hours ago. SLU ended up taking the lead 2.5 to 1.5 against the hometown team UT Dallas, and Webster drew against UT Rio Grande. And now we have round two, which has just begun. As you saw, the players in the playing hall have started their games. Brian, what game are we looking at here?
Hey Joe, thank you for the welcome first of all. I think we can start by looking at the top match right now, which is UTD against Webster. I think this match is quite crucial, especially for us since we lost the previous match. So I think it's important to take a look at these games first. So let's first take a look at the board one of UTD against Webster with the white pieces. International Master Andre Makovey against Grandmaster Harsha Baratakoti. Let's quickly recap from the beginning of the game, right? So e4, Andre always plays e4. Harsha goes for e6. From what I know, he's a very versatile player. Can either play Sicilian or French or e5. In this case, he goes for e6. d4, d5. Andre goes for the main theory with knight c3. Knight f6, e5, the main line. Knight fd7 and f4. Everything so far main theory, and this is where let's say the tabia begins. How to continue in this position because black has many moves. There's either there's either bishop e7, there's cd, there's queen b6, a6, sometimes even b6. I think it's a move. A5 even, and Harsha goes for a6. And now Andre is thinking, I I'm not sure if this is a delay or if he's considering how to reply here because maybe he didn't prepare a6. Maybe first of all, I don't think Harsha's main weapon is the French, so that was probably a little bit of a surprise. And then I would think that within the French, he also switched around and he played a6 now. So from what I know, I think the main move here is queen d2 or either d takes c5 or I think even a3. I think those three are the main moves. But I mean, nothing special so far. I think this is going to be a fighting game. I think, once again, I think the player with the white pieces for every team should try to push, especially considering the result of the previous match, but always without losing objectivity. What do you think of these positions, Joe? Do you play the French, either with the white or black pieces?
So with white, I do play
E4?
e4, so I am subject to the occasional French defense,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
What line do you play?
I believe it's called a classical. I just bring my knight to c3,
Uh
and
huh.
then
So this line basically.
yeah, and then I'll advance if I need to, right? And pretty much, yeah, I like this line.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was a French defense in the most recent World Championship that I think I learned a lot from, and I feel like sometimes the queen comes out to g4,
Yeah.
and I never know like when
Oh,
I
why
should.
and why?
I
I
don't know. I
mean,
really I gotta study up more,
no,
honestly.
it's all good. I think it's mainly just because basically black focuses on the queen side and white tries to attack on the king side, right? That's why the queen goes to g4. In general, it's a pretty fighting opening, I would say. Like I think there's gonna be a lot of intense positions here, pretty critical moments. So I think we just need to wait a little bit until see how it develops. Let's go to the next game. Board two, we have Balaji. Uh, as board two, last round he was board three. Now he's facing Lazaro Brusson. Lazaro Brusson has the white pieces. And let's take a look at the game. I think it was a Queen's Gambit accepted, most likely. Yeah, let's say d4, d5, c4, and c6. No, it was a Slav. Knight c3, and then he took. Interesting. I I don't know if there's some sort of detail of playing c6 and then forcing the knight to go to c3 first. Maybe not. I'm honestly not that familiar with Slav, but do you know anything about this, Joe?
No, but after this capture in the center, I immediately want to push e4 and try to take that pawn back, but maybe they'll play b5. So maybe we start with a4. I don't know the theory myself either, but what are your immediate thoughts between e4 or a4?
I mean, let's say one plus of having forced the knight to go to c3 before taking is that now whenever let's say you play something like e4, if b5, then whenever I play a4 b4, I'm attacking the knight, right? So I kind of gain a tempi, which I don't know how valuable it is in this position. Also, I might start with a4 also, as you were pointing out. That could also have its pros and cons, especially the b4 square, right? Could potentially be taken advantage by either the bishop going to b4 at some point, or the knight jumping to b4. But I think the game happened is I think he played e4. Yeah, that's what I played e4. But you play b5, defending the pawn. Yeah, exactly. This is what we just mentioned actually. I want to point out Lazaro here spent 4 minutes on this move, so that means he's already out of preparation, which is good news for Balaji. I would think his prep is so far already kept his opponent off guard. And then he played knight f6, e5, knight e5, and bishop c4. Bishop f5, still blitzing out moves. I'm gonna assume this is all in Balaji's preparation. And now we have this current position. Pretty interesting, I would say. Let's just say I feel like when choosing an opening, there's two ways to approach it. You can either try to take a little bit more risky approach and try to get an ideal setup. As for example, this is what I call an ideal setup. Like I get my bishop out to f5, then I play e6. I have a strong knight on d5, then bishop e7, long castle, and black should be completely fine. And so usually when your opponent follows such principal rules, if you don't do anything immediate, black should be able to equalize pretty easily. And therefore, I will think that here white might need to play a little bit precise if they want to maintain the advantage that they usually have. Maybe I don't know if there's so much difference between having the knight on e2 or f3. Which one do you prefer, Joe?
I always typically prefer f3 because it's a bit more advanced in the center. It's on the third rank as opposed to the second rank. But here, I'm wondering how badly does white want to try to win that extra pawn on the b file? I'm thinking about bishop d2 or even taking on d5 because I don't want my knight on a2 forever, and if I could take a pawn, why not?
Correct. I think you pointed out something pretty important, which is the fact that this knight on a2, if it doesn't either capture the pawn on b4 or some weird maneuver happens with b3, moving the bishop knight c1, it's gonna be misplaced for the rest of the game. And therefore, it is something that white should be worried about, especially if, let's say, black gets to play all the moves I say, like a5, e6, bishop e7, short castle. Then the knight on a2 becomes clumsy, right? So, and then every time taking on d5 and trying to get that pawn needs to be calculated as, let's say, queen takes d5 happens, I attack on g2. So this is not, it wouldn't be ideal for white. And then if I need to waste a tempi defending that pawn, then after like a5, black's completely fine. He has a pair of bishops. The knight's misplaced on a2, and black should be able to get a comfortable position. So bishop f5, and now Lazaro is taking his time, because I think he understands that it's a little bit of a critical moment on when to decide how to proceed with the knight, because there's some pros and cons for knight f3 and knight e2. Let's say knight e2 could potentially lead to some short castle, and then knight g3, attacking the bishop, followed by some f4. That's a possible plan. On the other hand, the knight on f3 also looks pretty natural, just to bring the knight closer to the center. So I think that's what Lazaro is assessing right now. And so I will say, so far, the opening worked out pretty well for Balaji. He's up on time by 10 minutes. So we will see how this game continues. Let's go to the next one. Board 3, we have Carolis Juxta for UTD with the white pieces against Yasser Quesada with the black pieces. Grandmaster from Cuba playing for Webster. Let's take a look at the opening. Carolis plays his usual d4, a pretty solid player. d5, c4, e6, knight c3. And Yasser goes for the well-known triangle Slav. Have you ever seen this before, Joe?
Yeah, the pyramid structure here. This is a queen's gambit declined.
It is. And now that they have played c6, this becomes the triangle Slav, basically. And in some lines, black wants to take on c4, and then the point of having the pawn c6 is that you can play b5 and defend that pawn, right? And here white has a couple of options. Let's see what... Carlos just went for e3. There's a really sharp line which goes with e4, trying to somehow punish the fact that black has moved 3 pawns in the last 3 moves, and you can get to some really crazy positions like this. Queen takes d4, bishop takes d4, queen takes d4, and here there's a couple of moves. There's either knight e2 or bishop e2. I think knight e2 is the most precise. And then basically white has a white is a pawn down, but he has the pair of bishops and he's ahead in development. And also,
What if 2 pawns down?
2 pawns down? I think that may be a little too greedy.
That's too much.
Could be, depending. But maybe not here. I think maybe it's too much, right? Looks like it.
That's a good counter move.
Yeah, queen d6. And so, yeah, but Carol is probably... My guess is that he wasn't expecting this. This is a surprise from Yasser. And he's like, I'm not going to go for e4. I'm not going to go for all this prep. I'm just going to go for e3, get my system that I like, and then take all my pieces and see how it goes, I think that's the idea of playing e3 here. Knight f6, knight f3, knight bd7, bishop e2. Yeah, just following by castle in the next move. Castle, and b3. b6, bishop b2, bishop b7. And I think we just got like a equal balance position for both players. Like they both develop their pieces, they both castle. Maybe always white is a little bit preferable, but nothing crazy. I would say in general, I would say it's a pretty balanced position. It can go either way. What do you think, Joe?
No, I think this is a very even position. Like you said, white may be slightly preferable because both the knights are on the 3rd.
Right.
Black has a knight on the 7th. White has a stronger center because both the D and the C pawns are on the 4th rank, whereas black's C and D pawns are on the 5th and 6th rank. But overall, it's definitely a very even position. Both sides have a lot to fight for, so there's going to be a lot of progression in this game later on.
Definitely. So in the meantime, let's go to the next game to see finally how the forward board is doing, and that will be the whole match. Now, Aditya is facing Emilio. Both of them, they both won their respective games in the last round. So probably the 2 of them are feeling the momentum. Emilio with the white pieces from Webster University is playing against Aditya from UTD. Aditya Samant. Let's take a look at the opening. C4, E5, A3. A3. Interesting. Okay, so my guess is that here Emilio just wanted to avoid any kind of theory and somehow just get some familiar structures that he's aware of, like the hedgehog, for example, the Najdorf, or in general any kind of Sicilian structure that he would like to get and just get a game. I think that's his strategy. Like he's aware of his opponent's knowledge in the opening theory, and therefore wants to avoid all of that as soon as possible. I think that's the goal of A3. So Aditya played knight f6, d3. It's basically like a Najdorf sort of structure. d5, and knight f3, and knight c6, and yeah, we basically got a Najdorf with an extra tempo for white. For usually would be black, but in this case for white, right? E3, A6, and B4. Interesting. Because usually in the Najdorf you don't get to play B5 that quickly, or usually you don't. You kind of wait for it. But maybe there's some argument to say that okay, since he already defined A6, And because usually the counter move of b5, in this case b4 will be a5. Let's say, for example, if something like this, things like this exist, even giving up the pawn, it wouldn't be that terrible. The black has a lot of compensation for the pawn here. So maybe Emilio is saying, okay, since he already played a6, I can play b4, and a5 wouldn't be such so annoying as compared to the previous move, you know? What do you think, Joe? Do you play another by any chance, by the way?
No, but that makes a lot of sense, right? If the A pawn has been pushed, we can then push our B pawn, knowing that if they push the A pawn again, they'd have wasted a turn essentially. And I think this move also makes a lot of sense if you look at the dark square bishop, because we want to develop that bishop somewhere. And if we go to d2, because our e3 pawn's in the way, it's a little bit more passive than if we get it to the fianchetto position on b2, controlling the long diagonal. And I also just wanted to welcome in, we've got a bit of an audience here in person. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to raise a hand and we can call on you. And we might also call on you regardless if maybe there's a tactic or an idea that we want to maybe get the crowd involved with. So, yeah, I think bishop to b2 is definitely coming up here for white, getting on the long diagonal. It does develop with the tempo against black's e-pawn, so black would have to take a step to make sure to protect that.
You know what's interesting here on move 6 already, Aditya spent 3 minutes. I would think that he was trying to somehow find which setups for white, you know, in the reverse Sicilian will be ideal for him. Then Emilio spent his time. Also, he played b4, and now Aditya spent 6 minutes and played g5, which is actually the top engine move.
Wow.
And
Samant?
yeah, and it's looking pretty good for black, honestly. If you think about it, like I'm gonna play g4, maybe the bishop can go to g7, show castle, f5. Yeah, that's why usually the neither players they don't push the b pawn that quickly, you know, because usually they want to first prioritize getting their king to a safe square or improving their knight first before pushing this pawn, because this can later on lead to a lot of trouble in the opening. As for example, now white needs to worry about bishop g7, which already threatens e4, you know, and then he also needs to worry about g4 coming, then the pieces being pushed out. Yeah, I think this is a good sign for Aditya. I would think he knows he needs to push if he gets the chance, you know.
Yeah, so I keep hearing you call Samant Aditya. Is this a more common name for him that he goes by?
So I think, if I'm not mistaken, Aditya is his first name and Samant is his last name.
Okay, I see the initial S there. So do you have any fun facts about Aditya?
Fun facts. Let me think. I mean, he joined UTD last August. He's a pretty quiet, calm guy, I would say. Always tries to keep things in control, but he's a pretty hard worker. I think that's the main quality that defines him. I think he's always ready to fight, you know? I think that's important.
And he was also the only Dallas player to get a full point in the previous round.
Yeah, I think since he joined the team, he's been constantly showing results. You know, also the Pan Ams, he scored pretty well. So super finals. So yeah, I think he's just constantly showing the hard work pays off. You know. So yeah, let's see how the game continues. Actually, Emil already played bishop b2. I would expect bishop g7 to happen pretty soon, honestly. And it's gonna be a fight. I think honestly this is ideal for Aditya. This is a scenario getting this position with the black pieces, then probably Andre will also probably try to push with the white pieces, and Balaji also got a great position with black, as we were discussing. This Queen's Indian accepted, you know, sort of. I think he's still in prep. Lazar is still thinking, you know. So that's good signs for UTD. So I think we can move to the next match for now. What do you say, Joe?
Yeah, I think the next match between SLU and UT Rio Grande Valley, we actually have Robbie back on that board one that we see in the player camera. So maybe we could check out his game. He's got the black pieces now.
So here once again, two players who won their first games. Robbie against Duding with the white pieces. If I'm not mistaken, could be the highest rated player in the tournament. Am I wrong? Maybe.
I don't know.
No. Let's take a look how the game developed. So Dudin played d4. I think he's mainly a d4 player. Yeah, d5, c4, e6, knight f3, knight f6, and he goes for the Catalan. Right, this move g3 defines the Catalan, and Robbie takes the pawn right away. Interesting. Bishop g2 and a6. So he's playing a pretty concrete idea, because usually the most standard thing is to play bishop e7, bishop g2, short castle, and then d takes c4. But in this case, he takes first. Sometimes keeping the option of going with the bishop to b4, giving a check, and also in this case he plays a6 first with the idea of sometimes playing b5. So let me see how much time Dudin spent here. After a6, he played quite quickly knight e5, just to know if he was still in prep or not. Bishop b4, check, knight c3, and knight d5. And now he spent some time. I would think, I don't think he ever prepared his position. I wouldn't think so. It looks pretty unique in my opinion. So I think both players, I think from now on they are both playing on their own, and I think it's a pretty rich position in ideas. I'll say, I think it can go either way for black and white. Who do you prefer, Joe? Black or white?
I would probably. I'm not sure. I like white. Black has double C pawns. But black's also putting a lot of pressure on the knight on c3. But I think white's going to be able to develop and defend pretty easily. But I like Robbie's clock. You said that both players are playing on their own. Robbie's only used 2.5 minutes.
That's right.
So maybe he's still in prep. Also, yeah, like white castles, like they don't even care about the c3 square, or what's going on there.
Right. So here he had two options: either bishop d2, defending the pawn, or short castling. I would say in general, if there's a threat and you can just ignore it, I would suggest to do so. Like in this case, because take into account the fact that after castling, white has developed 4 pieces so far: the knight on c3, the knight on e5, the bishop g2, and the king has already castled. Comparing to black only having the bishop and the knight out, I would think that taking another pawn might be pretty risky for black. Let's say after rook b1. It is true that white is 2 pawns down, but he has a lot of compensation for the 2 pawns, right? Mainly being ahead of development. Typical in the Catalan structures, right? And I would think that here white is preferable based on his development advantage. What do you think, Joe? Who do you like more in this position?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I see that obviously black has just taken a pawn with the tempo against the rook, but the rook looks really good on the open b file, especially as you're pointing out the fianchetto bishop, putting a lot of pressure on that b pawn. And also our knight is threatening their c pawns. So the loss of material is actually not really that bad, because it looks like you're going to get something back, and the b pawn is pinned. It looks like if you just play b5, you save that pawn, you save the c pawn, but unfortunately you'll lose your rook in the process. So people tell you to watch out for those sniper bishops. They'll catch you off guard, but I don't think Robbie's going to blunder a rook in 1, although Robbie is quite the guy. He might surprise you.
I guess.
But yeah, that makes a lot of sense when you point it out. That does seem like a good position for white.
Yeah, so here Robin castle after 2 minutes, which makes me think that he did consider taking, But then he was like, yeah, no, honestly, no. I can just castle, keep my pawn, probably still in prep. Like, there's no need for that, you know? And now dude is thinking. I think he's been thinking for the last 10, 15 minutes. I think that's why he's so down on the clock, you know? I think that's the main difference. But we will see. Let's go to board 2 on the meantime. Who's playing on board 2, Joe?
Board 2 looks like Sean Rodriguez Lemieux versus Dambasurin Batsurin.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean is a very strong player, recent Grandmaster from Canada, as you pointed out, I believe, under 18 World Youth champion.
Yeah.
So very talented player, of course. Batsurin from Mongolia, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Also representing St. Louis University. He's Robbie's teammate. He's got the white pieces now, and he's spent less than 30 seconds on his clock so far. So he seems pretty happy with the white pieces.
Let's take a look at what happened. So d4, knight 6, c4, e6, knight c3. Basically inviting for the Nimso Indian. I would think Sean goes for it. Yeah, he goes for it. Bishop b4. Actually, I played against Sean a couple of months ago in the Pan American Intercollegiate, and we played this exact same line. Actually, I was white. E3, castle. But here I play knight g2 in our game. In this case, Dambasurin plays bishop d2, which I think is pretty trendy. There's even like some course by, funny enough, by Darius Schurz, who is the coach of SLU, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of his ideas, honestly. So bishop d2, d5, knight f3, and c5. Interesting. a3, takes, and knight e4. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is main theory. Could be for both sides. And usually what ends up happening is that black equalize, but white is always slightly preferable, you know, because of that extra tempi that they have. Let's see how I continue. Rook c1, takes. Yeah, and I would think that Dambasur is still in prep, definitely based on the clock situation. And in general, like white has a pretty comfortable position due to the, let's say, a heading development, having the bishop out, the knight here, the rook on c3. The only thing that's missing is castling. And then after castling, just by bringing the queen, let's say, to f3 and the rook from h1 all the way to c1 after castling, then white will have a more preferable position, right? But still a lot of game to go. Of course, Sean is not going to just wait for white to do anything he wants, right? He plays bishop d7, castle, and knight c6. Why not knight c6 right away? We have audience here. What do you guys think? Why not knight c6 right away? Why does he play bishop d7 before playing knight c6?
Our audience is very humble. No one wants. Oh, we got an answer on the way back.
Right. No, you're good.
Maybe you're on the right track.
It is a move. You're right. The main difference. Correct. Yeah, it's the bad pawn structure. Like compared to having the bishop d7, usually I would take with the bishop back and I keep my structure. No, yeah, correct. Yeah. It's just important to point out. Some people sometimes underestimate how quickly their structure can be put pressure on, and in this case, this pawn on c6, especially with the rook on c3 already, can potentially become a weakness for black, right? That's why he plays first bishop d7 here.
But I also want to give a shout out to our first volunteer to answer that question. That's Dr. Alexi Root there in the back, who actually teaches here at the University of Texas, Dallas. She actually has a class that offers extra credit for attending. So if you guys are one of her students, welcome. But yes, that's correct. We're developing the bishop, showing some patience before developing the knight so that we can recapture with a piece rather than with the pawn ruining the structure.
Mm-hmm. Then white castle, knight c6, and knight f3. Yeah, I think Dambasurin doesn't want to trade pieces so easily, right? So that's why knight f3, just keeping the tension, it's the best way to go if you have the white pieces, in this sort of position. Queen e7, queen c2, rook c8, and now white's thinking. Yeah, I mean, I will say nothing so special for white. Maybe just slightly preferable, but I think black is close to equalizing. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I'm surprised how much Sean traded earlier. There was a huge mess of pawns in the center that have just completely cleared out, and it looked like white was a bit more developed with their pieces, and black has been spending some time trying to catch up. But it's still relatively even. I definitely give a slight edge to white. I'm just trying to think where that last piece is going to go, that rook on f1. Do we want to go to the completely open d file? Are we going to go to the c file and triple up with all of our heavy pieces? Maybe there's some tactics, some pins along the line. So I would be more excited to play with the white pieces here.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, I don't know if I would have placed the queen on c2. I don't know if that's thematic here. I would have played on e2. It looked more natural to me here, and then connect the rooks, in this way. But who knows? Maybe there's some idea behind queen c2 to gain a tempo with bishop d3. Also, sometimes if the queen moves away from e7, then I can play knight g5 also. Maybe that's the idea. But yeah, I think I would say pretty balanced so far. Let's go to the next game between Gabriel Cardoso with the white pieces from UTRGB against Nico Lisi, who won his previous round against Balaji, right? And so we have now Nico Lisi with the black pieces. Let's see how the game developed. Started with c4. From what I know, I think Gabriel can play almost any move. Move one, either c4, d4, e4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, knight c6. Here's the tabia. There's an argument for e4. There's also queen c2 sometimes, g3 here, and he chooses e3 simply to play with d4. Nicolisi plays bishop b4, queen c2, all this sort of main theory. Takes, and queen e7. I actually never seen this before. I thought usually black takes on c3 after white plays a3. Although in this case, if castle, the idea is mainly to go knight d5 here, and kind of gain a tempo over the bishop. But he went right away and he took it. He's like, just give me that knight. I'm tired. And then he played queen e7, and after that he wants to play d6. A5, short castle. That's a good thing about these structures, that even though you're losing the pair of bishops, usually your game becomes pretty easy. Your plan is pretty straightforward, and I think that's the idea that Nicolisi has here. What do you think, Joe? Who do you prefer here, white or black?
Well, pretty much, I feel like white is the preferred side. I like the doubled bishops, bishop pair. I don't really like taking the knight for the bishop that quickly. So I'm going to root for Jose on this one. Also, you mentioned Nicolosi beating the Dallas player previously. So today, we kind of see Missouri versus Texas as a state rivalry match. SLU beating Dallas. Do you think UTRGV is going to avenge the Dallas, their fellow Texan team?
I don't know.
You think SLU is going to beat both Texas schools?
If I think SLU is gonna beat both teams, I mean that depends on the position. So far, I thought it was pretty even, like on board one and two, right? And this one also seems like it. I think it's pretty tight, honestly. I think anyone can win this tournament. It's all about a matter of momentum, and I will say focus. Like this, having the nerves in the critical moments, I think is what in the end plays a huge role, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely too early on in this round to tell which teams are favored, but SLU definitely the higher seed compared to the two Texas teams. But I agree with you. Anyone really could win this tournament. So all four schools are very qualifying and have a really high caliber of chess skill. But I do think it's interesting. Two teams are from St. Louis, two teams are from Texas. And today we see the states compete. Tomorrow we'll see the interstate rivalries. So maybe you could shed some light on how much you see UT Rio Grande as is that your main rival as far as chess at least?
You mean Texas wise? I mean, they're also Texas Tech. I think they're also a pretty strong team. Yeah, in general, those two. That's why we have this tournament called Texas Super Finals. That happens once a year, and yeah, I mean it's always pretty hard tournament to win. I would say like, I think we won it in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, and last year we got second, and so yeah, it's always a constant fight, and you know how also like each team constantly tries to recruit new players, so there's new matches, new rivalries, and so yeah, I would say it's honestly playing in a collegiate events is a pretty interesting experience. I would say overall.
So who won the Texas championship this year?
This year, no, I mean this year is gonna happen in September. It usually happens in September.
Oh, so last year was so
Last,
it happens at the start of the school year.
it
Yeah.
happens. Yeah, correct. Yeah,
So in September it was you guys got second
we got
to.
second. I think first was Texas Tech.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, yeah, and but then you see like in Panams, like our B team beat them, and that's how we qualify to the final four.
Oh,
So
very nice.
so yeah, it's always it can always go either way, like that's why I'm saying like I think anyone can win these tournaments. It's all a matter of momentum now, I would think.
As far as sports go, I learned something yesterday about UT Dallas. Apparently, your football team is undefeated. Is that right?
Yeah. Does anyone know why is that?
Do you know? No. Exactly. They've never lost.
They say we don't have a football team. Yeah, we don't. We have a chess team. We're cooler than that. We don't need football. We don't need a karaoke club though. I don't think we have one of those.
Well, you and I have microphones.
That's true. That's true. what?
Well, I heard the mascot's the Comets.
It's Timok, isn't it Timok? Oh yeah. Enark. And how does he look like? Correct. Crane.
I don't know. Oh. Yeah, so I didn't go to school in Texas. I went to University of California at Los Angeles, and they say that UCLA actually stands for under construction, like always. So I think it's a pretty common theme for universities to be constantly under construction.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Enark. And very nice. Yeah, I heard there are some President Cup T-shirts. I think Alexi there's rocking one of the T-shirts from the event. There it is, looking very nice. Alexi could be a model for college chess merch for sure. So there it is.
There you go.
I got to get my hands on one of those. Also, I did get a sticker. They gave me this President's Cup sticker. I don't know if the camera can zoom in. No,
I didn't get one. I'm gonna complain for that. What is this?
Well, you've got already. I mean, their blazers got the logo on it.
That's true.
Very nice.
That's
custom made there.
Looking good, huh? Looking
Yes,
sharp.
for sure.
There you go.
And we have some Webster fans tuning in here.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I actually live in St. Louis, and on my flight, I found out I was sharing the plane with the Webster team. So we flew here together. It's been quite the storm. It's been raining a lot, so our flight had to go around a storm to get here. But I'm sure the Dallas team is very grateful they didn't have to travel. It's very nice to have the home field advantage.
As I was growing up and constantly playing tournaments, people usually say, "Oh, you're so lucky, you get to travel a lot." And honestly, yeah, it's a privilege. But then at some point, when you have gone to the same place to play the same tournament like 10 times, you just want to play right next to your house. Like it's just convenient to just play on campus
That's
as
why
right
I
now.
like playing online. Shout out to chess.com.
You got a sponsor by then, right?
Yeah, don't even have to get out of bed.
Let's go. What a legend.
Um, all right, so
I think we're gonna have some interviews pretty soon. Can we have some interviews?
oh yeah, definitely stick around. We've got maybe some alternatives,
Oh
maybe
my
some
God.
fans.
We got a crowd. Look at this. Here comes Grandmaster Claudia Boñón.
So we were learning the mascot for UT Dallas apparently are the Comets. What's his name? Timuk.
Timok, yeah.
So maybe someone can answer what is the mascot of Webster University?
I actually know it.
Oh, you know it,
Yeah.
Brian? You want to share?
No.
No.
I'm a Timok now.
You transferred?
I transfer, yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
So which school has the better chess team?
I mean, we do, right?
I guess we'll find out after their match, right? Or wait, no, they drew in the first round. They tied 2-2.
Yeah. Did they? Who?
No, I'm thinking of Regan. Sorry.
No, we lost.
Dallas
We're gonna
and-
have to one and a half.
Dallas and no, you guys lost to Slough. You're playing Webster now.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay. So the A teams are battling it out currently, but what if their B teams played? Did they play at Pan Am's?
Who? The B teams?
Dallas and Webster?
I don't think Webster has a B team.
No,
Do
no.
they? No, you
They're
guys don't
they're
have a
here
B
right
team,
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
That's true. We're gonna interview you pretty soon. Don't worry. Yeah, it's okay.
How many Annas are on the Webster staff?
That's a trivia question. Some people say 5. I say 6, just in case.
6?
Yeah, just in case.
Just in case of what?
Yeah.
There's an extra
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? How many Annas do you have?
Do you have an
Webster?
official
3?
3?
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-oh. All right, we got to learn more about that.
So this is the position by Cardoso and Nicolisi. I think Nicolisi got a comfortable position.
Well, hold on. Sorry. We didn't answer I almost said
The
Billiken.
Webster mascot.
The Webster mascot.
It's Gorlux.
Gorla, yeah.
Yeah, it is, right? Yeah. Yeah.
And why? What is the Gorlock?
I don't know. Does anyone from the Webster team want to answer that?
What's the Gorlock lore? Or
The horse of a speeding cheetah, the horse of fierce buffalo, and the face of the dependable sin.
So apparently the Gorlock is like a chimera. It's like a mix of many animals. It seems to be.
why is UT Dallas the Comets? Was there a comment here at some point? You don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody knows.
I think so. Honestly, I think that's the reason. Yeah.
I think Rio Grande
We can
Valley
ask
is the
ChatGPT.
UTRGV is the Valeros. Or did I just make that up?
I don't
Anyone?
know, man.
No one
I don't know.
knows.
You're putting me in a tough spot, man. You should have him about Rocky movies and like pop music. I don't know about these things.
All right, I'm trying to get some school fun facts, and actually, I'll have to shout out Dr. Alexi Root again for providing some fun facts here. Something for UT Dallas to be proud of: the very first President's Cup, which happened in what year? Anyone know? Earlier. Too late. No, just kidding. It's 2001. It was hosted here by UT Dallas. So 24 years later.
I didn't know that actually. That's pretty cool.
It was at the
It
Hyatt
was hosted
Regency
in a hotel, but it was
Dallas.
hosted by UTD apparently, and there were 6 boards per team, not 4 as it is nowadays. That's pretty
Yeah.
interesting, honestly.
So if there were 6 boards,
Yeah.
who would be the next 2 for UT Dallas?
The 2 reserves that we have in the team.
Who are they?
So we have 6 people in the team. It's Ivan Skitsko, then I think it's Andrei Makovey, then it's Kostav Chatterjee, Carlos Juxta, Balaji Dagupati, and Aditya Samant. I think those 6 will be.
Can we pull up the UT Dallas roster
Let's
here
see.
to show? Let's let's see. Did Brian get them all right? Does Brian know his teammates? Oh, there it is. All right. So yeah, and so McAvey, is this listed in? I see we've added Corollas on, so I see the coach actually is here, Julio Sedora. Maybe we could ask him on his lineup strategy, because the 4 players he chose were different, right? For this round, or are they the same?
Yeah, I don't know if he wants to reveal those secrets. Do you want to, coach?
Well, Julio might be giving a tour right now, so I don't know.
Can you join the
Do
commentary
you
for a
want to
second?
interview Julio?
Come here, coach. Come here. Hey,
All right, round of applause. We're bringing in Julio. Honestly, this room is packed with so much talent. We couldn't put everyone on the stage for an interview, but we'll obviously make some time here for the head coach of the UT Dallas chess team. Also graciously invited not only all the teams, but invited me as well. So, Julio, I wanted to ask you, obviously with 2 alternate players, a team of 6 total players, how do you choose which 4 to submit for your lineup?
It mainly depends on their shape and, of course, level of confidence. So it's up to how we assess them. I know it's subjective, but we look at how they play, and that's pretty much it.
So did you have any switches between rounds 1 and 2?
Yeah, we did, and that's like a conversation between the coaches and the player, and you take it round by round, but depends. Sometimes player feels good, other times doesn't. Depends on the position, as we say.
And the position's always changing. Interestingly, I was lucky enough to be invited to the captain's meeting last night, and so I got to be part of that process a little bit, and I learned that lineups actually have to be submitted at least 90 minutes before the round starts, and the previous round ended with only about an hour 45 before the next round had started. So that team, for example, only had about 15 minutes to make that decision. So that you got to be on your toes and make a quick decision there.
Definitely, yeah. You can't nap, and you can also submit it early if you have a prepared lineup, But that's all up to the coach. But you're right. You have to be alert at all times and be attuned to the players.
That makes a lot of sense. So I was asking Brian a little bit about maybe the Texas rivalries. Do you have more of a rivalry against UT Rio Grande, or do you think you have more of a rivalry against the St. Louis teams?
I think with UT RGV, Rio Grande Valley, this is something that has developed for the last maybe 3 years. Yeah, I think you have a stronger rivalry with them because we also face them a lot in state championships. And of course, Pan Am's the qualifier for this event. So we're getting tired of them. But I don't think we're keeping score, but probably should because, yeah, they've won President's Cup 2 times already. So we gotta try to get one of our recent titles again. We gotta get one back.
Maybe you can get it back here this year. Obviously, you guys are the hosts, and I know a lot went into that, and there's a lot that we should thank you that's going on behind the scenes, so you're very busy. Don't want to take too much of your time, but I wanted to ask you, did you know that UT Dallas was the original host of the President's Cup in 2001?
Yes, I only learned about that last year, actually. When I found out about it, wow, we actually invented this thing, and it's an honor, and it's a legacy. It's a responsibility to keep on this tradition going, and yeah, we're grateful to have it this year, and to, of course, have visitors and chess fans be entertained with Chess.com's help.
Of course. And we're happy to help, and we really appreciate all the viewers and the sponsors, and hopefully spread some more love and light on college chess which you've devoted your life to. And I wanted to ask you, how much has college chess changed since maybe you were a student?
Wow. Yeah, every time I look back, so much because it was mainly Pan Ams and some local collegiate events that was happening. Of course, the President's Cup as well. Back then, it was called Chess Final Four. There was very few tournaments happening back then, and not as visible as we do now. Of course, we now broadcast the games, the collegiate games on Twitch, YouTube, and of course chess.com. Lead Chess is there. I think it has grown with the way we broadcast the games, the way it's followed, and just the amount of title players. Back then in Pan Am's, you know who the grandmasters are. You can count them by your fingers. But the last Pan Am's edition, there was like 30. It's astounding. I see it as a collegiate Olympiad, and a lot of countries involved. And I love that diversity that the collegiate chess community has now. And I hope it keeps growing as we keep building with opens and women's division as well. And as you know, we have a new section at the Pan American, the U1800, which has been growing year by year. So I think we're on the right track.
So I have maybe one last question for you. I heard that Jonathan Bartholomew is a UT Dallas alum,
Yes.
and so are you.
Yes.
Were you guys teammates?
No, I just missed him by, I think, 2 years. He was here first. He's my senior. But we work together at like chess camps, so we're closely in touch. And at alumni events, he comes out. So that's another great thing at UTT. We have a large chess alumni community. And it's a beautiful thing when chess team alumni comes back to give back to the current players. And yeah, hope we have him in our future, tournament someday.
Well, I did have an idea. Maybe we could start it together. What are your thoughts on making an alumni league, and how do you think your team would fare against the others?
Oh, wow. I think we would dominate that one. Thanks for that idea. I'll start reaching out to my contacts, so chess team alum. So that would be great if you can organize that. Is that online or in person?
I think we could do both.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I think when I think of alumni, I think all the scholarship schools are probably going to be pretty good. Also, you mentioned Antipov on your team. He might count as a Mizzou alum, though.
Right.
Joining Grigorio Parin. But,
Sure.
Yeah, do you actually know where the Mizzou head coach, did Karilla also go here?
Right, I'm not sure if he would play for us, though.
Oh.
Yeah, he did go here. We were teammates.
Okay.
You were teammates.
And now you're enemies. as
Yeah.
Rival coaches.
Friendly rivals, we could say, because they're still one of the relatively younger programs out there. So, yeah, we'll see how strong the rivalry gets over the years.
Awesome. Well, do we have another guest that we can interview?
Yeah, we
or
can.
is Julio gonna also give us some chess analysis?
I think we can interview one of the Webster players.
Oh yeah,
The
do we have
women
any
grandmaster.
volunteers? Oh,
Yeah,
Anna?
I should have Anna on the show.
Is Anna?
Oh, three
ready?
Anna. I think she's ready to go.
All right,
All right.
welcome.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Of course. Thank you, Julio. All right, can we quickly show the Webster lineup? Just so we can see how many Annas there are. All right, so Anna, we've got your teammate, Anna Sargisian, and we have, so there's a missing Anna. I guess Anna's not actually on the
He's
team.
manager.
Okay, so I guess we're not including the managers here. But that's okay. So you've got your main four players playing right now. They just had a draw in the previous round against Rio Grande Valley. Were you watching that match?
Of course, the whole time, yes. We were trying to root for them. And well, first round is always difficult. So let's hope for the better continuation.
When you were watching that match and maybe your team didn't get the win, were you hoping to be put in the second round? Were you like, put me in, coach? I'm ready.
Well, honestly, I would like them to go with the best team
Okay.
possible. So this is not about individual efforts. It's more like the team to be the best. We don't really try to compete between ourselves. So we are just happy for each other when we are scoring well.
So you guys were the highest seed, or you are the highest seed with the highest team average rating. So during the drawing of colors last night, your head coach, Liam Lee, got to choose. Obviously, he chose the white piece first, so go white in the first round. How excited were you guys to get, like, how big of a deal is that for your team, or do you think it really isn't that big of a deal?
I don't think so. Honestly, it's every game you need to play your best. It doesn't matter whether you are white or black. There are some people who are more comfortable with white or black, but it's not that big of a deal. So, yeah.
Well, what about your personal preference?
Honestly, sometimes, well, it depends whom I'm playing. So, also, if I need to win, of course, white is better, but black is fine too. So, yeah.
Okay, so Anna, I want to pull up some of your teammates' games here, and we can get some of your thoughts on the positions. Last that Brian and I looked, everything was pretty even, but it's been some time. So here we've got Harsha Bharadakoti. Am I saying that right, first off?
Harsha.
Just
Go
Harsha,
with that.
okay. That's what I thought sounded good. Okay, so he's quite low on time. That's the first thing I'm noticing with the black pieces here. Andre Makove has an hour and 20 still. Harsha has almost half his time left on the clock. Is that normal for Harsha? Is he a long thinker? Does he play well under time pressure?
Yes, he does well under time pressure, and honestly, sometimes this is a trick, right? Because whenever you are in time pressure, the opponent is thinking, "Oh, maybe I should play faster," and then they make mistakes. So this is like a perfect way to trick your opponent into making mistakes.
Is that working out for Harsha so far, or we have to see?
We will have to see. This is very much the beginning, right? We are just out of the opening development finished, so yeah, there is a long game to go. This is very close position, so there is a lot to be played yet.
All right, what do you think about Greek Gift right now?
I think it's not really good.
No?
Shouldn't be good.
But
Yes.
we hope Andre plays it, right?
Yes, exactly. That would be
That's
perfect
part of
for us.
Harsha's tricks.
Yes.
He's castled now, hoping for. Okay, so let's see next board. We've got Bolaji Dagupati against Lazaro Bruzon Batista, who has the white pieces here. Let's see. Okay, so black has also just castled here. Would
This
you
seems to be a nice position for us.
do you think Lazaro would take the knight on d5 and try to win the b pawn at some maybe like queen d2?
Well, that would be a pretty optimistic try. B-pawn can be protected in many
Yeah.
ways. So, like, if black just brings the rook over, that's not going to work out. So he needs to do a better strategic plan, but overall I feel pretty positive about this position. I would probably take white.
Maybe queen a4 is an idea.
Well, that could be something to try to target the c6 and b4 pawns both, and then bringing the rook. So yeah, that could be something to try, but well, I think if he tries to select a plan, that would be his best shot because, yeah, this otherwise, if you don't have a good plan, you cannot make progress in chess. So it's up to him. What is he trying to do?
So you said you like white's position. How do you like white's knight on a2?
Well, that might be a piece in the future to be improved, but it's also targeting the b4 pawn, so it has other functions. Now, maybe later on, if b4 pawn gets protected, then white can transfer the knight somewhere else, but over right now, it doesn't create that big of a problem.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Every piece has its purpose. And I really like how you're analyzing and thinking. Definitely appreciate how you look at potential moves. And it just makes me wonder how much has having like a coach or a team at Webster, specifically Liam Lee, help you in your chess?
Oh, he helps us a lot. So he supports us to practice our calculation. He gives us different viewpoints, right? So when I arrived to Webster, I was mostly a positional player. I liked the big maneuvers and everything, and he really tried to force me into those waters, like which are more tactical. So like it broadens the chess player's viewpoint. So I think he's doing a great job, and he really supports us in the best way. So. Yeah, we are very grateful for him.
So obviously everyone knows Webster has many Annas. You are both international master and woman grandmaster.
I am woman grandmaster only, and Anna is actually both international master and woman grandmaster.
Okay, so
Yes,
Okay,
and
that's
I'm
the-
Anna Maria.
so that's the original Anna, Anna Sargisian, right? Are we gonna interview her next? She says no, but the other Anna says, "What do you think?"
Well, I think it's her choice.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
If she wants to go, then yeah, we are doing democracy, no forcing.
So when you guys play, what's your favorite time control against each other?
Well, I like Blitz. Honestly, I feel like that's a time control which gives you like possibility to make even maybe mistakes, and then you can quickly correct them. But it's definitely, I feel like, the most interesting time control. It's quite quick, and you can make quick decisions, and whoever calculates faster is going to win. So yeah, overall, not only against my teammates, that's just my favorite.
So I have a fun fact about the Webster Annas. You guys both competed during the Collegiate Chess League's individual season, which was the first time Webster has ever competed in the Collegiate Chess League. You remember that?
I didn't know.
Well, I remember you guys did well.
Yes, we did both qualified into the final, and then we did score very highly in the elimination process.
You guys even got some cash prizes.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so that's not bad, especially for a free event.
Yeah,
right?
so we need to organize it again individually because team events are more difficult to organize, right? So individual events would be great again.
Yeah, we can definitely plan for more in the future. And I have maybe another question before we bring in another guest, or maybe we bring back Brian. But I've been talking a lot about maybe some Texas rivalries, or maybe Texas versus Missouri rivalries. Today has been only St. Louis teams versus Texan teams, but tomorrow is going to be St. Louis University versus Webster University. Is that your main rival?
Honestly, I don't think we have main rival. It's more like we want to win, and we know that we are capable of that, and we are trying to do our best towards it and giving our best efforts, all of us team players. So I think that's how you should go. You should play against pieces and not just focus on your opponents.
That definitely makes a lot of sense, and I agree to that for sure. I do think sport rivalries make things a little bit more fun. It's kind of like a sibling rivalry in a way. Maybe you have some sort of Anna rivalry going on a little bit. No. But yeah. Do you have any fun facts about Webster? Maybe besides their mascot is a Gorlock?
Fun fact. Well, that's a good question. Well, this year we won as an all-female team in the Pan American, and we scored very high in the overall seed as well. Like we became very high ranked. We were tying with the fifth place, I think, and that's I think a very great accomplishment. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I heard some people talking yesterday. Maybe we can start like a women's college chess championship match.
that would be interesting. Yeah,
You think Webster would win that?
yeah, that would be our challenge. But also, I think we can again prove that we are very good at what we do.
I think obviously Liam Lee's been doing such a great job as coach, but before him it was Susan Polgar. Maybe we can ask if we can start some sort of college chess championship through USCF with maybe Susan's help.
Well, that's up to you guys to discuss.
Bec-
Yeah.
I'll ask Susan myself.
Yes, that's a good idea.
No, I don't know how to do that.
Well,
No, I'm sure we could figure something out.
yes,
Oh,
her
okay.
son is here among us, and he can probably talk in her name.
All right, we'll bring him up to guest interview next.
That's a good idea. Uh,
Well, we should just bring up the whole Webster team at this point. Just no.
yeah.
It seems like you're very brave out of your friends.
Well, it was a hard choice,
Ah.
but yeah. Okay, so Tom.
Okay, well, we do have two other boards that we haven't looked at yet in this match. And we're gonna rope in Anna to continue.
All
So,
right.
or no, she's you gotta choose a volunteer now.
Okay, someone volunteer.
Oh,
Be brave.
she doesn't want to be a. Oh, look at this.
All right.
Well, thank you very much.
so much.
Yes,
Thank you.
and good luck to your team. It wouldn't be complete without talking to both Anna, the
Yes.
original Anna, actually, the only
Okay.
Anna.
Yeah, the only Anna.
Okay, so Anna, we've looked at two of the games so far, but here we
Mhm.
have Amelia Cordova from
Mhm.
Peru. He won his first round,
Yes, I saw the game. Yeah, that was a very nice game by him.
so you think he'll follow this up with another one? Saman also won his game, so both these players are a perfect score so far.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Let's see how is the game going. Okay.
Yeah, we
so
can start from this.
It's a little, as you can see, it's minus 0.21. So I'm gonna look at the engine.
we like the eval bar. I know Brian actually doesn't like the eval bar, but I definitely need it. So
Especially considering the fact that Anastasia brought me here telling me it's an interview, not a game analysis. So
okay,
I'm gonna look at
we
the
threw a
engine.
curveball at you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm gonna look at the engine. But it's still only like, oh no, you guys didn't continue. Okay. I mean, it's an equal position.
Yeah, Black hasn't castled
that's,
yet.
That's all I can say.
They've
Points 20,
extended.
equal position.
Okay, so it was favoring Black slightly. Now it's favoring White slightly. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't really think from point two we can really guess whether white is better or black is better. But position-wise, I think I would take white for sure. I would take white, and I think Amelia also likes his position better. As you could see from the opening, he didn't really want to go into some line, so he just chose something to play and outplay his opponent. So I'm hoping that he will do so. Yeah, I like it for white. I'm not sure what are the ideas in this position. I never play c4. The c4 expert in our team is Anna Maria, so I have no idea about c4.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I should have asked her about this game when we
you
had
should have.
a missed opportunity.
You did have the opportunity.
Well,
but
what's
yeah.
your opening of choice?
I play e4 or d4. I equally know nothing about them. Stop laughing. But
This is
yeah,
a very serious interview up here.
very serious.
Okay,
should we
so
move on to the?
well,
to the
I
other?
liked what you said about him not necessarily going into a particular opening, just trying to outplay him. with like a move like a3 on move 2. So that definitely makes a lot of sense. And Saman's on a
Yeah.
think tank right now, under an hour on the clock, and hasn't castled, right?
Mhm.
But do you expect black to maybe castle queenside?
I think so. You wouldn't really want to castle in the king side because the pawns are way too advanced. And maybe some f5 ideas would happen. Yeah, I can't really imagine how would black castle in the short side, king side. Yeah. So I guess some f5, bishop out, and then lone castle. And yeah, the earlier game, Emilio's earlier game was also he was black, and again he got a little worse from the opening, but he just got a position, a playable position where he could again outplay his opponent. So I guess the experience that he has is enough compensation for opening.
And yeah, we have the last game, Yasser Casada Perez up
This
against
one.
Corollas Yuxta. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me go from the opening, please. Oh, okay. So this is. I don't know the names of the openings. I really don't know the name of the
I think-
openings, but I do know this opening. What's the name? Like Slav, semi-Slav.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I guess it was Queen's Gambit decline, but with c6, I think Brian was calling it a semi-Slav.
yeah, semi-Slav. Okay, yeah. It looks good enough, semi-Slav, and then I guess knight f8, bishop d6, knight e4. I guess those are the ideas for black. I'm not sure knight d2. Where does the knight go from d2? Honestly, as someone, I used to play this line with black a lot of times, but I'm not very sure where does the knight go from d2. It looks like the knight on f3 was very well placed, at least to me. Let's see. Does the engine like knight d2?
Well, I wanted to also point out, interestingly, when we were looking at Harsha's game, he was way down on time, and Anna Maria said that he plays well under time pressure. And do you agree with that? Is that part of his strategy, or you think he's just slow?
I'm not sure how well he plays under the time pressure, but every single time I looked at Harsha's game, he's down a lot of time.
So that's a that's a reoccurring theme with Harsha.
That's one thing I noticed about him.
Well, in the last game with Yasser Casada Perez, I noticed
Mhm.
it was the complete opposite. He is
Oh,
way
yeah.
up on the time. Is he a fast player?
Yeah, me and Yasser have the exact same playing style. We have same playing style. We play fast, and we actually have mostly the same opening repertoire. So it's very easy to steal his openings. Yeah, he plays fast. Of course, he plays fast. Me as well. So that's one
So
thing I noticed.
Anna Maria said that she likes blitz. Is
Mhm.
that also a good time control for you? You prefer fast-paced chess, or do you like classical?
That's I don't know. Like I like classical better because I can take my time and think about the moves. Because in blitz, you're mostly relying on tricking your opponents rather than enjoying the game. Also, after every single blitz game, I feel so nervous and so stressed that I don't like the mental state I am in after the blitz games. One more thing, if you lose in a blitz game, you don't have enough time to mentally prepare for the next game, especially if the loss was very painful, like winning game and you lose a winning game. Yeah. So I would say classical. Rapid is no. It's like in between. You don't know what to do in rapid. Like I don't like rapid much.
That makes sense. I think it was Dubov,
Yeah,
who had
I,
an interview.
I
Yeah.
said that and I remembered him and he's like, you don't know
It's-
whether to sleep.
yeah.
That's a very famous interview. I won't quote.
Yeah, people can look that
Yeah.
up if they want on their own. But
Yeah.
the question I think was, what was your favorite time control? And he said,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know my least favorite is rapid
Yeah.
because it's not like blitz and it's not like classical, right? So you
Yeah,
should
right.
just choose, is it a serious game or is it a not serious game? Rapid's kind of in the middle. But yeah, I had one more question for you.
Sure.
You mentioned, or maybe Anna Maria mentioned, that you had a very strong team at Pan Am's, an all-women's team at least that had competed, and so now here at President's Cup, you were both here as alternate players. When you travel with the team for these sort of competitions, do you like playing more, or do you like having to, just be more of an alternate player and you get to enjoy more the event itself and not have to worry about actually competing?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how honest do you want me to answer this question?
You can be as honest as you'd like.
So if I'm not playing, I'm not sure why am I here.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's very honest. But I was reserved only for 2 rounds. Who knows? There's still 3rd round.
There's the 3rd round. I asked
Yeah.
Anna Maria, was she waiting to get in? Like, put me in, coach, right? Are you waiting to be put in for 3rd round?
For the 3rd round? Yeah, I think Solu's
Yeah.
forward is not even that strong. I can definitely play tomorrow. Yeah, why not?
Why the 4th board?
Because I'm a reserve.
What if you and Anna Maria got put in together? Would you still be 4th board?
Come on. Come on.
I don't actually. I
You're
don't
not
know your.
gonna take
well,
out 2 GMs.
She
right?
mentioned that you have the international master title.
Yeah.
Are you going for grandmaster?
I haven't gone for it for the past 5 years, but hopefully when I graduate, I'll try to do so. Yeah, especially since now I have more motivation. I'm representing United States, so I have more motivation. There is some prizes when you get to GM title.
I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Did you switch federations recently?
Yeah, very recently in March.
Okay. So last month.
Yeah.
So now you can compete also maybe in like American Cup.
Hopefully next time. Hopefully.
And yeah, shout out to the St. Louis Chess Club. I believe this was a Jean that started the prize funds for
Mhm.
American women grandmasters.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be very exciting. And also you could maybe compete in the U.S. Women's Championship.
Yeah. Let's hope so. Yeah.
Is that like you have to qualify through rating or through winning certain events, or is there like an invitation? Have you looked into it?
I looked at it. I think if I don't drop my rating, I should be
You should
able-
qualify.
yeah, I should qualify with my rating. Yeah.
Have you ever played Alice Lee
I did once last Olympiad. Yeah, I lost to her.
in the Olympiad?
Yeah.
But now you would be teammates.
If I get to
If
the
you-
Olympic
so-
team, yeah.
So as they say, if you can't beat them, join them.
I mean, well,
Oh, Alice is
I'll
very
play
strong.
with her in the future, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Okay. Did you want to maybe analyze more, or did you want to bring in Brian back? Or you have another, you want to?
Let me just look at the games, and then you can.
Okay. So
bring
walk us
Brian
through
back.
quick thoughts.
Yeah.
You have Andre versus
Why is this
Harsha.
a mistake? Why is this
Okay.
a mistake?
Oh, a miss.
95 is also
Inaccuracy.
Yeah.
Winning a pawn. Grabbing a pawn.
Was there something wrong with? Nah.
Bishop takes, then Greek gift.
No, that's with the check.
Oh, true.
Could there still be bishop takes h7 though? It's not going down, so there is. Okay.
Well, we were
King
hoping that he
takes,
would Greek gift
Knight
when it was
G5,
bad,
Okay.
but he missed
And
it.
I think this is touch screen.
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, you could try.
Yeah, I could try. Let's see.
We might have to
Oh,
clean
no, it's
it.
not. I think we can just take it and then rook lift, like rook f3.
Wow.
Yeah.
So missed
that
opportunity
was-
from
that
Andre
was the-
McAvey.
Yeah, and then rook f3, rook h3. Nice. Nice
So-
job by Andre. Not seen it. Okay. Let's go a little back.
I mean, I saw it when Black
okay,
initially
knight d4.
castled, but it wasn't so good.
Okay. So we are safe.
All right, so Harsha has.
Hmm.
This is all part of Harsha's plan.
Yeah, I think he was like, Andre won't see bishop h7. Okay, let's see the next one. The evaluation bar says white's much better, of course, but I'm not sure if I have enough understanding why. Why so? Because can't black just say c5 do some c5 at some point? Why is white so better? Knight b3. Okay. c5 is not working. Oh, c5 is just bishop d5. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, so if there is no c5, then of course white should be better. Okay, good for us.
So
For us.
I have to ask you now, how do you like your team's chances against St. Louis tomorrow?
I like it. I like the chances. I think we have all the chances to win. But of course, I don't want to underestimate them. They also have good players. Yeah, I don't like trash talking or underestimating opponents, especially that I'm not playing.
Okay.
You
I
know?
thought you were going to say, especially if their coach is in the room.
Oh, you should have warned me earlier.
But you were very safe. With your
Yeah,
answer,
St.
so-
Louis University has such a strong team, you
Yeah.
know, especially the coach.
Also a great
amazing
city.
coach. Yeah, great city.
How long have you been in
great
St. Louis?
university. How
How-
long? Almost 3 years.
And you like it? All right, you don't have to answer that.
Thanks.
But yeah, maybe we can bring in
Okay.
the SLU coach if
Yeah.
he's ready,
Wait, let me.
Var
Okay, yeah.
Kogan. Yeah. So actually, they had a game finish early.
Okay.
It seemed.
Do I have something here? No.
So yeah, thank you very
Okay.
much, and good
Yeah,
luck
thank
in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
All right, we have Grandmaster Var Kobian here in the audience, ready for his interview, maybe some chess analysis as well. Var, welcome.
Hey, how are you, Joe?
All right, Var. Well, we had an early game for your team here. If we could pull up Tianki's game. So first and foremost, congratulations on the first round. Your team is now leading. You guys had 2.5 points, putting you at first place. How confident were you going into that match? Was that the result you were expecting? Did you think you were maybe going to get more points or maybe a tie?
Well, I was thinking if we can press with the white pieces and then we try to be solid with black, that will give us some chances. But it worked out great. Board 1 and 3-1 with white. Board 4 we had a draw, and unfortunately Tianki, wasn't able to hold that position. But still, it's a good start for us.
Yeah, and that game against with Robbie, actually, I think Brian and I were worried that maybe they traded too quickly or there was a very even position. It was bishop versus knight.
Yeah, that's actually all theory. It was a preparation, and if black played a couple of more moves correctly, it just would have been a draw. Just he didn't play the right setup in that endgame, and then once you start pushing those queenside pawns, you create weaknesses in endgame, and it became a problem. But otherwise, the line is going to be a draw at the end if you play correctly.
Yeah, as a Roy Lopez Berlin defense, right? So is that something that maybe after that round, did you talk to Robbie at all about like that sort of opening? Is that something that you think he would play again with the white pieces?
Well, I'm not sure it will be repeated again in this tournament because all the games are going to be closely watched by the other coaches. But it was just one-time idea, and it worked. If again, Black played a little bit more precise, it's most likely going to be a draw in that end game.
And then Nicolosi also had the other full point.
Yeah, Nicolosi played well, and he was completely winning in the middle game, but maybe some inaccuracy allowed his opponent to get back, but it was still pretty much always winning. So that was a very good game, I think. Some ideas on the light squares, and that was a good game overall.
Okay, and now this match against UT Rio Grande Valley, they had Eken sat out the first round and now joined here in the second round. Does that change your when do you find out the lineup? Is that when they submit? Is that public knowledge, or?
Yeah, you find out about an hour and 20 minutes before the match. They submit the lineup, and then it's posted on Chess Results. So we expected them to go with this lineup because they only have 5 players, and they both 4 lost. So it was expected that they would probably substitute the player who lost and put somebody fresh. And so yeah, that was expected.
And did this game finish earlier than you were thinking? I think showing Tianki actually finished with more time on his clock.
Yeah, I spoke with him, and I think he should have just tried a little bit more. There are a couple of more questions he could have asked in this position, like for example.
You want to show us?
Yeah, I can show. So basically, Black played correctly, more or less, and after take Bishop G5, you should just see if the Black will find the only move here, because you have to play this move, otherwise you're just basically losing. So you have to play F6, now Bishop F4 again, you have to play only move again, otherwise you're much worse. You have to play Knight C4 actually. If you play Knight F7, you're actually almost losing after this game. So there are a couple of more questions he could have asked. And if opponent finds every move, then most likely the game will end in a draw here. So after Bishop F4, Knight C4, then if Black manages to go Bishop D7, King F7, it will be a draw. But I think it was just slightly early. It didn't look like Black knew everything because he spent 20 minutes. So perhaps he could have possibly try to play a couple more moves at least until Black gets King F7, Bishop D7, Rook 8, then it's probably going to be a draw, because there's no much risk to lose this position with the white piece. You can play King F2, H4, and you're going to be very safe here.
So I know there are some tournaments that actually have a rule that players cannot agree to a draw.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that rule?
Yeah, I like that rule. Actually, a lot of the tournaments organized at the St. Louis Chess Club have that in the contract. So if you sign a contract to play in a tournament, you're not allowed to offer draws. The game, if you repeat the position or there's insufficient material, you can, that's a draw. But otherwise, you cannot offer a draw. That's just to encourage more fighting chess.
So obviously St. Louis University not only doing well at Pan Am's, playing here at President's Cup, leading the way. You play a lot online as well with the Collegiate Chess League. You guys just won the Division I championship along with $5,000 just last weekend. Tell us a little bit more about what that was like to win.
Yeah, that was very nice to win, because the previous season we were in the finals and we had a very close match. We lost to Mizzou in that match. But this year we have a new team. We have a lot of new players on the team. And unfortunately, due to some collegiate rules, they weren't able to play in this tournament. So we have Grandmaster Aryan Chopra, Emin Ohanyan, and Victor actually also is on our team. So, but because of some of the rules, they weren't able to play in this tournament. They will play in the next Panam, so the team will be a lot stronger. But yeah, we took it very seriously, the Collegiate Chess League, and I told the guys just try to win every single match.
And that's exactly
what they did. Yeah,
won
won all the 7 matches, and then playoffs. We had a little bit of tough time against UTRGV, and then I don't know. I think the guys, they just a little bit too relaxed, and they were like, oh, we should be able to win this, and then there were just like a lot of scary moments in that match. So after that, I told them just do a lot of preparation and train a lot, and then I worked a lot with the guys, with Aryan in particular, to make sure he has a good performance, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, UTRGV is actually the team that you're playing against right now, and
Yeah.
actually I see on the the camera, we have Gleb Dudin versus Robbie Kavashvili. And you mentioned being a little nervous against, or it was a very close match. Are you grateful that that happened in the semifinals?
Yes, because it was like a good wake-up call, because they weren't playing that well, and Victor and just everybody basically. But after that, I think that 1 week of training and preparing and taking it really serious, I think helped in the finals to play their best. And also, I think I think that was very important for us, to win.
Yeah, and I was talking actually to Robbie just 2 days ago. I don't know if you knew this. He was our guest on the College Chess podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he mentioned that he had a bit of friendly banter with former teammate Benjamin Bach, who was the
Aha.
captain before him, and that he was worried that Bach would never let it go if he wasn't able to become a champion as a captain
Aha.
after Bach had graduated. So
Yeah.
it meant even more to Robbie as well, because this is his last year.
Yeah, this is his last year. This is his last tournament for SLU, so he's graduating next month. But we had a great player for 6 years, so helped a lot. Won the final four actually in 2022. So hoping for a really strong finish for him before graduating.
So obviously you mentioned you have just gotten 3 recent Grandmasters on the team as new players.
Mm-hmm.
SLU has a history of getting really strong, talented players, and you've had a captain in Bach, a captain in Robbie now, and now that Robbie's graduating, how would you look to replace such strong leadership?
Well, we're gonna have only one spot, the spot that he's graduating. We have limited spots, so it's a really selective process. We don't just take anybody, even like grandmasters. We have to make sure it's a right fit, and being good in online chess is one of the criteria. So you have to be good in online chess. You have to be good because we want to make sure we continue to do well in the collegiate chess league, because that actually helps our team to stay sharp, playing every week. So it's 2 seasons for the year. So we have several, I think, candidates for that one spot. We just have to see who will be that person, and we haven't decided about who will be the captain. We have to still see after this tournament. And but yeah, like we'll have 5, possibly 6 grandmasters, so one of them will be the captain for the upcoming CCL.
Awesome. And how many of your players played at the recent American Cup?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And
And
yourself?
we also a couple of I played myself too, and also a couple of guys from the C team. Actually, we have a pretty good C team as well, with a couple of national masters on that team as well, and they're competitive and they're really good blitz players.
So what's that mean to you and your players, being in a city that allows you to compete in these sort of events with world-class talent?
No, I think it's a really good opportunity. I think that's what actually makes it a little bit different, us from different programs, that we constantly have opportunities with a lot of the grandmasters to play, even on the weekends. Play on Friday at the chess club, on Saturday there are tournaments, they can earn money, they can stay in shape. We have the American Cup. If you're a local player from St. Louis, you'll be invited to play, if you're a title player. So there are just lots of opportunities, and not to mention a lot of the tournaments. Like there is going to be a tournament later this month called the Classic at the chess club. So a lot of our students going to play. It's a round-robin tournament, A and B groups. So it'll be organized by St. Louis Chess Club. So lots of opportunities to play, and just try to improve your game.
So how long have you been in St. Louis?
I've been there for about 8 years now.
So you must like it?
Yeah, I like it. Definitely the chess scene, and the fact that it's not a very big city. I like it a lot. Whenever I go to a big city, I feel like it's a little bit overwhelming, like compared to St. Louis, because in St. Louis, I can get anywhere in about 20 minutes or so.
So I asked Robbie about his World Rapid and Blitz performance. Did you play in that?
Yeah.
And how did you do?
I did decent in the rapid portion. Actually, I was basically +2 if I win my last game, basically I win a prize.
Oh wow.
But it was very tough. It was just, I didn't win the last game. But if I win, I would win a prize. Blitz didn't go so well. I don't know why. I was just totally off that one day. It was a one-day event. They changed the regulations. It was just one day, and so I hope to do better. But we also do a lot of blitz tournaments in St. Louis University. We organize. We invite a lot of top players. Fabiano Caruana played a lot of tournaments with our club. Benjamin Bach, a lot of local top players. Linier Dominguez comes, so we have a lot of top players visit us and play some of the FIDE blitz tournaments.
So if your school qualifies for President's Cup next year, is St. Louis going to host it?
Yeah, I think we have interest to host it. We actually bid to host it this year. We weren't choosing, but I think eventually, hopefully, we keep playing well, qualifying. Then we'll try to host it in St. Louis University.
Well, first you have to finish this President's Cup. So did you
Yes.
want to maybe look at the other
Sure.
three games?
Yeah, basically, we can start with this one. Here, this is not up to date, right? Yeah. So here, actually, I think Robbie is just better because he's up a pawn. He has a lot more time,
Oh yeah.
and usually, like, you need to have something to have a compensation. And somehow I think Gleb misplayed this, and I'm hoping Robbie will win this game because that will be a big boost. So he's up a pawn. I don't know what exactly it's showing about 0.8. It's basically a 1 pawn advantage here for white. So, but a big time difference. So I don't see the compensation here.
Yeah, we can see Gleb.
Yeah.
He's
I
got,
think he realizes it's just no compensation here.
and Robbie's just walked away from
Walked
the
away,
board, very confident. Do you think that the Collegiate Chess League match maybe is bleeding into this a little bit? Do you
Well,
think
they
Gleb
had they
maybe
had a
lost
big
some
match.
confidence?
Yeah, Robbie won that game, and it was important in the playoffs. He got to the playoffs in that match. It's just like, and we won the playoffs 3-1, but it was very close. Yeah, and that was an interesting game. Gleb was attacking, and Robbie defended, and eventually won the game. But yeah, he's our most experienced player, so we're definitely counting on him to do well in this event.
I think there was also a match in the regular season. Robbie had a game that was like 50 move rule got counted. You remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
It was one move away from mate.
Yes. So here we're doing really well here as well. Here it was some good prep here, and basically got the advantage a little bit more. It's going to be hard to win this position, but it's one of those positions you want to have in team tournaments where you're basically playing for 2 results here. So white cannot lose this position unless he blunders something really big and has some trumps here. I would have liked him to play the bishop on e4. So I think this bishop he can play on e4. This bishop needs to go on e4 in this position. So he can maybe even just play it here. So it's just clearly better for this position for white, and a little bit more time on the clock as well here. On the other board, I think there is one mistake, I think, from Nicolosi here, and I need to talk to him maybe after the game. So here he equalized the game, and basically all he needed to do here just play b5, a5, and you cannot take the pawn because rook g8, you pick up the g2 pawn. So he played this, which is okay. But here he played like literally a careless move, a5. And he, I think, underestimated the opponent's move because he should have started out with the move b5 here, and then play a5, or even not play a5, just play b5 here. But he started well with this move and allowing this. So now the structure is fixed, and now you have to play b6. Now bishop f6 is a threat, so you have to drop the knight back. And here, white is a little bit better, but I think he should be able to hold. But again, white is having all the fun here. So I think if he can swap the rooks, I think it's fine. I think white should try to keep one pair of the rooks. And basically what you want to do here, you want to play like h4, g4 and create like a second weakness. But it's not going to be easy to do. And of course, if you go to a rook endgame, that will solve all the problems. So you do have to be careful to go to a king and pawn endgame because the pawn structure is fixed. So there are some problems here for Nicolosi because of this a5 careless move. Because if the pawn was on a7, he would have had an opportunity to play a6, b5, and expand on the side of the board.
So I was wondering, when Nicolosi played f6,
Yeah.
why not take the pawn on e3? Are there tactics?
Yeah, you can take the pawn here because I think after king f2, your king is going to get attacked.
Okay.
So if you take, I think, king f2, now you got to move the knight, then check, the other rook comes in, g7 is
It's
hanging.
too much.
Yeah, I think it'll be, maybe there's another move here, but it looks risky to take the pawn right now.
Yeah.
I think king f2, so that's why I didn't do it. But it doesn't, I don't know, at least it doesn't show a big drop in evaluation. So, yeah, I think here we are a little bit worse, for sure. And yeah, this a4 move. Okay, so his opponent doubled the rooks. Okay, so he probably has to take. And
You
And
should
then-
trade both rooks.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. If you trade rooks,
You don't want to go into that endgame.
yeah, the white is still better even there. But maybe he can. There's no like a breakthrough here, so maybe he can just play something like h5 here
Okay.
and try to hold this position. It's again, white is having all the fun here, but it's not that much material left on the board. So I think with a reduced material on the board, it's not going to be easy to break through here. Maybe even something like this, g5. It's just not that much material left on the board, and there are no breakthroughs on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to be careful. You trade rooks, then somehow the king might have an entry score here on b5.
And that's something that Robbie talked about the other day on the podcast, is that he has a lot of faith in his teammates, and that even if you're not doing so well on this board, for example, the other boards, like Robbie's,
Yeah,
your teammates can kind of help.
yeah, that's
get
the thing
points.
with the team tournaments. You need to have people stepping up. If like you see one of the players is in trouble, you don't just make a draw. You just try to play for a win. That's what we did in the previous round. Our fourth board was in trouble, but then we knew that we are going to do well because we were winning on the board 1 and 3. So even though for a split second we were actually down in the match, but we knew that pretty much we're going to win those 2 games and win the match.
And a fun rule of this event is that it's actually not the match results that matter, it's the total points that matter.
Yeah, total points of the team scored, yeah? So basically if you get 2.5, that's your points.
And right now it looks like SLU has a good chance to win both their first match and this match.
Yeah,
Which
yeah, like
leaves-
that's what I told the guys. 2.5 is perfect. Just try to get 2.5, and then last match we'll play obviously a strong team from Webster. We just have to play good chess and just see where we are, what do we need in that match. But yeah, if we can win 2.5 here, that would be perfect.
Okay, and obviously you're keeping a close eye on the
Yeah.
other match as well. I
Yeah.
think Webster. Oh,
Oops, sorry. Oh, sorry.
That's all good. We want to switch
Oh, yeah.
event,
Event, yeah.
and then games here.
Oh yes, in this, so yeah, this is actually a French defense. I played this position for a very long time. 94 question mark. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we were actually
Well,
just looking at
normally you
this.
play 92 here and put a
So,
knight on d4.
Do you know what the move is here for white?
Let's see. Wait. Oh, king is still there. Okay. So it must be some kind of a tactical idea here that he doesn't like this. It's not knight g5, right? No, knight g5, there's d4. So, must be some idea here. Let's see. Bishop c5, there's a bishop c5 check. So we don't have time to play bishop h7 to do the Greek sacrifice.
What if we start with that,
Start with the king h1.
with the Greek gift?
And if it takes...
I think we were looking at this with Anna
takes,
Maria
king takes.
previously.
So wait, we start with this. He takes this. Oh. Wow, and then wow, this is hard. This is hard. This is not easy to put.
So yeah, that's Makove missed it.
Makove missed it, and yeah, now it's just a normal position. White is a little bit better here, but it's nothing too special in this game. So here I think Lazaro is better here, because Black needs to play c5 here. If he doesn't play c5, he can never equalize. So I think it's going to be hard to play c5 now, and he can control this, and I think White is better here. And then we have, so this is probably equal, and then we have Samant playing very aggressively with this pawn advances. So this is a sharp game. Anything can happen here. Anything can happen. So very sharp game. 3 results about equal here. Black was very aggressive. And then we have this game. This is it's like a lot of maneuvering here going on here. Normally, like in this position, you play e4 and try to open up the position, but that did not happen. And we see some positional play. Yeah, I think Black is fine here. I don't think White has much here. So I would say very close match. Very close match. Maybe slightly better for Webster because he's pressing there. Bruzon is pressing in that position.
Yeah. So Slew's looking really good. You know,
Yeah,
you won the first one, they're looking good in the
yeah,
second one,
hopefully,
right?
yes.
And so hopefully that holds, and
Yeah.
maybe we can take a close look at the player camera actually, because I know we've got Gleb Duden really concentrating. I wanna see if we can watch the finish of this game. If we,
Oh yeah.
because I have a good feeling that Robbie's gonna win. And Robbie's really banging the calf. He's the board one.
Yeah. Go down, yeah. More down, yeah.
He's got the biggest advantage, I think, out of all of the games.
Yeah.
And you can really see Gleb is really mulling things over. He's very low on the clock, 20
Yeah.
minutes.
And this is there's no second time control. This is all you have basically. You got 20 minutes to finish the game.
Yeah, and when you have so much time, when it was Gleb's turn, I think Robbie was getting up, walking around, and now it's his turn. And a lot of people say, you shouldn't necessarily move quickly just because your opponent's low on time. Is this kind of one of those times where Robbie has as much time as he wants to think, and he could really just put as much pressure on Gleb? Gleb never
Looks
really
like
knows.
Gleb made a move, yeah? Okay, Gleb made here. Okay, so rook fc1 was inaccuracy, and
We should
Robbie
pull up the
responded with
board again.
inaccuracy. Interesting, okay. There was a better move here, apparently. I don't know, maybe it was f5?
Can we pull up the board so we can see